Looking from the outside in, Florida seems like it is a wonderful paradise that is perfect to live in. And at one time that may be true, but things are certainly changing now. Florida has always been one of the most popular places to move to, but that is quickly changing just because of the sheer amount of people that are moving to Florida. Florida is no longer the affordable paradise that it once was due to the population growing by roughly 1,000 people a day and housing price increases of 11.8% just in the last year. Florida is becoming less and less popular and affordable for Florida residents, transplants, and for retirees as well. With more and more people moving from Florida to Pennsylvania and other states as well, which one is truly best for you? Hi there, I'm Corey Benhart, your Pennsylvania realtor. I specialize in helping people just like you move to the great state of Pennsylvania and find their perfect Pennsylvania home. All of my contact information is below, but before we dive deep into these two states, let's first go over the geography of these two. Florida is known for its beautiful beaches and is an overall very flat state with a lot of coastline, while Pennsylvania has rolling hills and mountains. If you love outdoor activities like laying on the beach, boating, surfing, beach volleyball, etc., Florida might be more appealing, while PA is great if you prefer hiking, sledding, boating, or swimming in a lake instead of an ocean. Besides geography, weather in both of these states is obviously very different as well. Florida is hot all year round and is actually the second most humid state in the country. If you don't mind humid, sticky, hot weather, Florida may be best for you, but if you love the change of seasons and want to experience the cold winters, the warm spring season, hot summer, and brisk fall season while the trees change color, then Pennsylvania might be a better option for you. Florida has an average humidity level of 74%. The average daily temperature in Florida ranges from a low of 57 in January to a high of 88 in August. Florida gets an average of 54 inches of rain each year compared to 34 inches of rain on average in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's average temperature in July is right around 70 degrees and right around 28 degrees in January. The major difference when it comes to weather for these two different states is the natural disasters. Florida experiences tropical storms and hurricanes on a pretty regular basis. Florida gets an average of 68 tornadoes throughout the year, and that of course depends where in Florida you may already be living. On average, Pennsylvania actually gets about 8 hurricanes a year, and I find that a little interesting because I was born and raised in Pennsylvania. Obviously, I still live here, and I've only ever heard of one hurricane that has actually caused any damage anywhere in Pennsylvania, but who knows? Speaking of natural disasters, they actually impact the cost of insurance in Florida and actually even the type of homes that are offered in Florida. Depending where in the state you might live, most homes are built to a different standard to withstand high winds. For example, if you have an oceanfront home, your home will be built to a much different standard than a home located in the middle of Florida. But overall, no matter where in Florida you're living, you're likely paying a lot higher of homeowners insurance than anywhere in Pennsylvania because of the extra risk for natural disasters. Even going further, the Florida building code requires all windows to be impact resistant in case debris flies around during a storm. You would definitely save money by living in Pennsylvania because you won't have to pay the increased homeowners insurance like you would have in Florida. And unlike Florida, it's rare to have a home in Pennsylvania that is in a flood zone, so you wouldn't have to pay thousands of dollars a year for flood insurance because you won't be dealing with the crazy storms that Florida residents deal with. Next, let's talk about the lifestyle and cultural differences between these two states. Florida has more of a laid back and beachy lifestyle compared to some parts of Pennsylvania, which are a lot more fast paced. Overall, Pennsylvania has a very rich history and both states have very vibrant cities. So when it comes to the lifestyle and cultural differences, it truly comes down to your personal preference between these two states. When I have clients that have moved from Florida to Pennsylvania, one of the first things that they always say is how great it is to not have to deal with the bugs. I've personally never lived in Florida, so I truly don't know how bad the bug issue is, but I do know that it gets pretty cold here in Pennsylvania. So during the winter, it kills off all the bugs, and essentially every spring, all the bugs restart. But since it doesn't get into the freezing degrees temperatures in Florida, since the bugs never restart or reset, I can imagine there's tons of bugs. Besides bugs, Pennsylvania and Florida are both known to have a large deer population, so it's likely to see deer in both states, along with raccoons, foxes, etc. The big difference between these two states when it comes to wildlife is Florida's alligators. I've heard people found alligators in their swimming pools, inside their house, on their driveway, etc. Next, let's compare the job markets in both of these states. So both of these states have some pretty diverse job markets. Florida is known for its tourism and hospitality industry, mostly due to Disney World. Pennsylvania's job market is very strong in the education and healthcare sector. The Philadelphia area has some of the best hospitals and universities in the country, so much so that 1 in every 6 doctors throughout the entire United States was actually trained right in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania might not have the huge theme parks and attractions like that, but arguably Pennsylvania's job market might be even more secure than Florida because in unusual situations like 2020, our job market was continuing to thrive compared to a job market in the entertainment and tourist sector that was completely shut down. All right, so let's compare the taxes between these two states. Florida is very well known for their no income tax compared to Pennsylvania, which is one of the only flat rate income tax states, which means no matter how much you make, everybody gets taxed at the same 3.07% tax rate. Over the past couple of years, a lot of West Coast residents have fled their states and moved to Florida seeking the no income tax. A lot of those residents that moved to Florida are used to paying a lot higher cost of living, so they're okay with a bit higher cost of living for their house, so they're okay with bidding more and so on and so forth, which is causing a huge spike in the Florida housing market and the overall cost of living over the past couple of years. I've had clients say that they don't mind moving from a state with no income tax to Pennsylvania and having to pay income tax for 2 reasons. One being that Pennsylvania is a flat rate income tax state, so it's not like they're moving to a state where the more that you make, the more that you get taxed. Everybody gets taxed the same amount no matter what you make in Pennsylvania. And for the second reason, the cost of living in Pennsylvania is so much more affordable because in most parts of Florida, you'll have a high cost of living due to the tourism and rising housing costs. So depending on where in Pennsylvania you would end up moving to, it's very likely that Pennsylvania could have a lot lower cost of living, even including having to pay the Pennsylvania income tax. Pennsylvania is also a very retirement-friendly state because Social Security and pension income are not taxed here either. So if you're thinking about making the move from Florida to Pennsylvania or moving to Pennsylvania instead of Florida, I would love to hear from you. All of my contact information is below. Thank you so much for watching.